Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, I'm in the shade, I am outside, and I have got some welding to do. Let's see if we can get these butt plates and end plates onto this I-beam at a perfect 90-degree angle every time and maintain a plus or minus a 1/16 of an inch on all these I-beams. Welcome to Man Time. Well, it is a nice day in Texas today, that's for sure. Whew, that sun. It's going to be a little difficult to see, but for a lot of this stuff, I'll get you in right up close and see what we're doing here. How to index off of the straight angles that are on this I-beam or W-beam in this case, and get these butt plates on here. I've got all of these cleaned up. You saw that with my, my death grinder. Those are all cleaned up. I even went in and reamed these holes out to make sure everything was at least a 1/2 inch in diameter. We're good there. And I think we're ready to start welding. I'm going to fire up my Miller D2 diesel-powered welder. It goes up to 250 amps for this stuff here. Running 1/8 and then a little bit bigger stuff here, maybe running about 140 to 150 amps, somewhere in there. And I'll bring you right in here and show you the first step in getting these butt plates squared up on there. Okay, so the first thing that I'm doing, well, the first thing I did, I knocked off all the slag and then just kind of with a grinder touched up, you know, all the mating surfaces and put a chamfer on there. But the important thing here is you're not indexing off of the I-beam. Now, when I put that jig on there and I made a straight cut through there, there were still some imperfections as I rolled my hand and that plasma torch all the way, you know, around this material here. Another thing is you're going to want to get it centered. So again, I've got it a 1/2 inch all the way around there. So I've got this little ruler with the slide set at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go around there and check for a 1/2 inch from both sides into the edges of the W-beam. And I'm also going around and using my marking pen here if there's any high spots on the W-beam. I've got a few here, like sometimes on the corners as you're coming off of a cut with the plasma cutter, you kind of tend to sway a little bit or roll the head, which makes the cutoff at an angle. So I can see that I've got some of that going on here. And that's going to be the first thing that I fix up. I've got a couple spots. I've got one spot here I need to touch up. I've got this corner here, and then I've got right in here just a little bit. So I've got that marked up. Let's see if this D2 Miller is going to fire up for us today. Okay, well, I've got all of my power cords and everything set up out here. Got my forging stuff out here. And the mighty Miller. The only thing about this one that isn't really ideal is going to be that when you're using the generator part of it, you have to have this set at 100%. This is the fine adjustment here. That's got to be at 100% in order to do the grinding. So we're going to start there. I'm going to crank that up to 100 right after well, 100's over here, so it's going to be like that. But let's see if it's going to fire up. This one's pretty easy on. Of course, I got everything, you know, labeled. Light comes on, battery's on. There we go. All right. Well, I've got this one just about right where I want it, and again, like with the plasma cutting, it is basically a 60-40 split on setup versus actual cutting. But what I've done to speed things up, I've got a 1/2 inch traced out on here. And and what I'm doing is I'm running the magnet kind of into the steel and making sure that it is completely seated. Now, one thing that can kind of get you is the magnet could be slightly at an angle. So you want to pay attention to, is the magnet completely seated against the I-beam, both of them, and then is it completely seated against the steel? And it's a battle, kind of working it back and forth, using a little hammer to kind of tap into place, you know, where you need to tap, and getting it, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. These top plates here are just going to be material to weld to and set stuff on top of. But again, you don't want to be referencing off of here. You want to be referencing off of this 90 and making sure that, again, it's fully seated all the way around there. And in doing that, there is a small air gap all the way around, but I am within, at the maximum, just over a 16th to maybe an 1/8. But some of the spots here, I am really tight and perfect. So, call that good and get to welding. I am going to do one more final check with a tape measure to make sure that I am exactly 105 plus 3/8 on top and bottom here, or at least from side to side. Alright, one more thing. You don't want to start welding and just weld a bead all the way across here. That is going to get you in some trouble, because what happens is this heats up, and then when it cools down it shrinks, and that's going to pull all the material toward that shrinking weld. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit a little spot in the corner. If I hit this spot in the corner here, I'm going to come down here and hit this spot under here and just put a little tack there, little tack there, little tack there, and little tack down there. Do all 4 corners with a decent tack, and then you should be able then to fully weld out this entire thing. Well, I know there's at least 3 out there that are interested in my welds and what they look like. So I think I have the settings pretty well set on this D2. During this pass here, it all felt pretty good. Halfway, I'm 50% on the fine adjustment between 115 and 240. So I think that means I'm around like 160. I don't have a clue, but it seems to be working pretty good. Oh man, it is a nice summer day here in January. Every once in a while we get these southerly winds that blow up from the Gulf, and it's just beautiful out here today. But what I'm trying to do is rapidly accelerate my production, and in doing that, trying to come up with a plan to productionize this process. Right? I want the highest quality and the quickest production that I can have. That's the ultimate goal in production. In reality, you want it as fast as possible with the highest quality possible. So what I'm going to do, it's easier working like this. Let's think about this for a minute. I was going to come in here with the tractor and grab this piece of I-beam. It might be more efficient. It might be more efficient to do one at a time. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be more efficient to do one at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this out, set it on here, and then be able to finish up this side. And it'll allow me to see exactly what's going on. First thing I'm doing, the side that I plasma cut, I'm putting this piece of 3/8 flat bar on there that doesn't have any holes in it. The side that was cut with a professional high-grade band saw or circular saw or whatever, the factory cuts, I'm going to call them, those are going to typically be pretty square and pretty flat. So doing one at a time, I can see that I've got no holes on this side, and I need a piece on that side, so I'll grab the one with the holes. And then as soon as I get each one done, I'll come in here with the tractor, grab it, pick it up, move it out of the way, and then go on to the next one. That seems like the best way. If you got any other suggestions down there in the comments, what would be the most efficient way to do these one by one, or do an end on each one and then swap them around and then do the end on the other one. And it also, it's taken me a while to, of course, video. If you like this stuff, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe for all types of manly stuff like this, welding, tractors, farming, everything in between. Well, man, that is going to do it for today on Man Time. I have got a lot more work to do, and not a whole lot of time to get it done. So why don't you get out there, have you some man time too. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Get out there, have you some man time too.